Dinner for shoes, please. Hello, and welcome to an episode of Dinner for Shoes. Today's episode is focusing on bridal trends. Bridal trends. I'm getting married and I'm talking like a baby. Bridal trends. Bridal trends. Wedding dress trends specifically for fall 2026. And you want to know what's so weird? I'm a fall 2026 bride. And I guess it's because I don't know why I never felt like the day would ever come that bridal brands were putting out wedding dresses for my wedding season. And it feels really weird to say that. And it feels weird that like now these collections that are coming out are like literally what I can be looking at because when Nick and I first got engaged, or even before that, when we were just like talking about how we were getting married, I would look at like the bridal collections that would come out and I'd be like, oh, well, this is for a season that's way before the season that I'll be getting married. And like we made it here. And that happened so quickly. And my wedding is like a year away. And I know how quickly this time is going to go. So, me looking at wedding dresses now, it's very much shopping for myself. What do I like? What do I not like? And that is going to play into the way that I talk about the fall 2026 bridal trends. And I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite wedding dress brands that I personally am going to be looking at for my own wedding dress. I mean, spoiler, no, I don't have it yet. I have some ideas of what I might want. But we're going to talk about that. And for those of you who don't know my story and my history, I was previously engaged and I actually had a wedding dress. We're going to take a look at what that looked like today because I don't think I've ever showed that to anyone. And it's definitely making me think. I think now, like let's say I had worn that wedding dress, which thank God I didn't, but if I had, would I go back and look at that wedding dress now and think, oh, that was super trendy and it was trendy for that time? Or would I feel like it was classic and timeless? And I personally think I would feel like it was classic and timeless because it was a very simple dress. And that's almost making me want to go that route this time around, where I'm getting married to the love of my life in Hilton Head, which is my favorite place in the world. And so I'm very excited. Also, sorry if you can see my KT tape when I cross my legs. We're going to talk about the outfit behind the shoes, but I realized that the outfit behind the shoes is revealing my KT tape. And also, if you didn't know my story, I'm in physical therapy for my knee tendonitis. And so that's going to have to stay. Sorry if it takes away from the outfit, but let's dive into the outfit behind the shoes and then we'll really start talking about the bridal trends. I will have none other than a wedding cake. And there's reasons why I'm having the wedding cake on this podcast instead of at my actual wedding. We'll get to that. But what's funny is that the outfit behind the shoes today doesn't really have much to do with fall 2026 bridal trends or bridal trends at all. Although I will say that these Zara shoes are super unique and they struck me when I saw them. I was like, I want to be walking on velvety soft faux fur and I love this shade for fall. So I will say that this Merlot burgundy wine colored shade, whatever you want to call it, is a very big fall trend. So that's kind of why I decided to dress for fall today. And I just love these. I've worn this ribbed dress by ASOS, I believe. Let me actually check all of the brands that I'm wearing right now. I forgot to do that before we started recording. Oh, this jacket, very cool, which I have like literally never worn. I feel like this is the coolest little khaki colored jacket. You can cinch it in at the waist, which I absolutely love. And I got this from Revolve, Lovers and Friends. And then this dress, which I've worn before, is nope, I lied. It is not from ASOS, it's from Garage. I've definitely worn this dress on an episode before. And I love it. So I'm wearing this today just because it is finally fall and I feel like this is the perfect fall jacket. And oh, maybe I'll like wear it like this. When I act like I can see myself in the camera, I can't really see myself. It like is too far away, which is a little concerning because I did get LASIK surgery. And the fact that I can't really tell how this looks right now is concerning. Okay. But these shoes are very cool. They're also very comfortable. I actually find Zara shoes to be really, really comfortable. So if you need something in a pinch and these hold you in really well, of course they're a kitten heel, so they're low to the ground and they're unique. And I think a lot of the trends that we're going to talk about for fall 2026 brides are very unique. I think wedding dress trends are getting getting more and more unique. So let's talk about them with a faux fur trim because, yeah, faux fur is very much an embellishment on a lot of the dresses that we're seeing these days. And then ring wise, my engagement ring is being washed, which is so inappropriate because we're doing a bridal trends episode. Let me go get that. I literally don't think I can go on without it. That's my engagement. So ring wise, I'm wearing a lot of rings today. I'm actually wearing a lot of rings today, which I haven't really worn a lot of rings in a while, but I'm wearing my heart ring. I don't know where it's from, but I'm wearing it because this is an episode on bridal trends. And isn't that romantic? That's another reason why I stuck to this color palette. This color is just super romantic to me. Also, I spun my color outfit wheel and got red. If you don't know about my color outfit wheel and the fact that I have my closet color coded, go back to the beginning of like our Dinner for Shoes episodes and watch the episode on my closet is color coded. We did a whole episode on it. It still is true. And yeah, it talks about how I pick an outfit. I am wearing this very cool red set, red ruby set. It is a beautiful set. I have a ring and then a matching ear crawler. I actually had two of these and one of them broke. So I'm wearing it as a one ear crawler now in the ear that I can do that. And then I'm wearing these like really cool, delicate, open gold hoops and this beautiful, what is the name? Agape ring, which me and my best friend Isabel have. And okay, so that's the outfit behind the shoes. So it's not exactly related to fall 2026 bridal trends, but it is in my subtle way. Okay, so first of all, let's get back into like my perspective on wedding dress shopping in general. I really do feel like classic is the way to go. I know that a lot of brides may disagree with me, but the way that I'm approaching wedding dress shopping this time, I simply can't decide. And maybe let me know what you think, but I can't decide if I should go for that classic look like my ex wedding dress, which here's a picture of it. It's by the lovely Mark Harrion. This was when it was being fitted, so it wasn't completely done. It had a long train. It was a take on the Juno dress, which they actually still have on their site, I believe, but mine was just made in like a classic silk instead of a jacquard silk and didn't have like a little floral bow attachment. But actually, funnily enough, that's kind of a trend we're seeing for fall 2026, and I'm calling it the boutonniere bride. We'll get to that, but it didn't have like a little floral attachment at the one shoulder, but it was very simple and silk. And because of that, and because of how much I still respect it as a design and really love it, I love Mark Harrion as a wedding dress designer as well as a brand. I don't know if I want to go for something like that or something that speaks to where I am having my wedding. If you know me, you know that I love fashion and I love dressing up and I love style, but I love to dress for a moment. That is where our social series, Dinner in a Fit, came from. Dinner for Shoes was literally born from the idea that you dress up based on the vibe of the event, the occasion, the restaurants particularly, where you are visiting. So part of me wants to make sure that my dress very much suits the area that I'm going to be in, Hilton Head in general, and the moment. And then the other part of me just wants to go for classic and simple and not directly related to where I'm getting married. So I'm very much like, I know what I like, I know what I'm attracted to, but I'm in a pickle when it comes to where what path I'm going to walk down, if that makes sense. Um, okay, so then on top of that, another brand that I just really respect and love, and I know a lot of brides love, is Galia Lahav. And they actually gave me a really beautiful mini dress that I was going to change into as my party dress, my party outfit. So my second look, paired with these insane netted, embroidered Stuart Weitzman boots that I still have. And that was going to be my second look for the wedding I had previously planned that was called off, right? Now, if you've read my story, it definitely was a big deal when I put it out on Pop Sugar a long time ago. This was back in 2022, but I did a shoot in that dress, Hello Kitty Cat, just to celebrate the moment and celebrate how beautiful I felt in that dress. And I still stand for that. And I still love that I did that. And then I donated the dress. I donated the dress to a lovely charity called Brides for a Cause. If you don't know about it, look it up. They are a company that donates to women's causes. And after I did my shoot, I donated the Galia Lahav dress. And I actually, for the shoot, used a lot of the vendors that I was going to use, who I became very close friends with these women, one of whom was my photographer, Miranda Seuss, and she's in the New Jersey, New York area. So if you're looking for a wedding photographer, hit her up. And then Laura Collins from A Touch of Elegance with my florals. And they created like a beautiful shoot setting for me. And it was really a moment. I like the idea of changing into a party dress, something that's maybe a little bit shorter or a little bit more comfortable to actually dance in. And these days, as you're going to see from the fall 2026 collections, those are ingrained into collections now. No wedding dress designer is putting out a collection without the party dress. The party dress now goes hand in hand. You're going to sell a bride both, right? So it just makes sense that they have that for everyone. So Galia Lahav is still very much at the forefront of bridal trends. And if you do take a look at their collection, you will always see that they are kind of like, I wouldn't say setting the stage for what the next season's going to look like, but they are doing everything elaborately. In fact, this season, they partnered with Liebisch and they made a $1 million dress called the Astor, named after Astor Place. Actually, their collection this season is named after famous streets in New York City, which I absolutely love as a New York City girl. I really, really love their collection. The Astor dress is insane. The way they styled it is absolutely fucking insane. But Galia Lahav is one of those major, major brands. I also really love brands that offer androgynous styles for people who are not dress people. I also am thinking about maybe incorporating pants into one of my bridal looks. Yes, I think I probably will change for many different events. Like you have the rehearsal dinner, right? And you always have an outfit for that. And then you might have your ceremony dress and then your party dress, your reception dress. And then you might even change to something for the after party. And then maybe the next day brunch. Like there are so many bridal events these days. And Gila actually makes a really beautiful pant look that I absolutely love. Like I like something like that. Way back when I was first starting to start my wedding dress search. I discovered Line by the incredible Meredith Stockland, and she did a portrait series for her bridal collection for fall 2026. Each look was an ode to a woman who has inspired the brand, which I really love as a women lover. I just really appreciated that. And it's a small collection for fall 2026, but these are just some of the things that excited me about fall 2026 bridal collections this season. So they're very important, but we are really going to go into the actual trends that I am noticing, and I'm going to talk about them and the ones that I really love and the ones that I think I would consider more of trends that I don't think I would necessarily opt for. But again, different strokes. Everyone is very different. About halfway through these trends, we will go get our hands on my slice of wedding cake and talk about how Nick and I don't want to have a wedding cake at our wedding, and what we might want to have instead, because we are just not really cake people. And honestly, who said like I think my biggest issue with weddings in general is just that there are so many traditions that I don't know who came up with these traditions, but I don't necessarily agree with them and they don't necessarily represent who I am and who Nick is. And so why have wedding cake when there are so many other desserts that the two of us love? And cutting the cake is again such a traditional thing that you don't necessarily have to do. It takes time away from dancing and just from being with the people around you who love you. So, like, why do it if you aren't into it, you know? And I just think that more and more we're seeing that people are kind of like opting out of traditions that don't represent who they are as a couple. And I really respect that. So, one of the things that I am seeing that I think is kind of in tandem where the way actual fashion trends are going is boho bell sleeves. Really elaborate boho bell sleeves. The bohemian trend is back with a vengeance. Also, I should probably start this by saying corsets are everywhere, like to a point where almost every single wedding dress I am seeing has a corset built in, which brings me to like, is that something I would want? Is that something I wouldn't want? You know? But this Ines de Santo dress is really beautiful, has a corset built in, but has these flowing bell sleeves that literally flow down to the floor. And that gorgeous fabric almost takes the place of like a veil if you wanted it to. Galia Lahav's Gala collection also incorporated some really beautiful bell sleeves. Some are in lace and some are in this really beautiful sheer fabric that are attached to like a little lace embroidery detail. So I think that's something that that's a trend that you're definitely going to see. Boho's kind of like sticking around. We're seeing that it's sticking around even for the next ready to wear season. So you can expect that boho will be incorporated into a lot of bridal collections. I did reference the boutonniere bride. I really like this trend. It's not a trend for me, and it's not that I even think it's trendy. I think it could be classic for some people. I've just never been a floral applique person, but Mark Harrion actually put out this absolutely stunning dress where it's a deep V-cut neckline with these two floral poofs. It's a standard A-line gown. It suits Mark Harrion's DNA so well, and I really loved the shoot that they did this season. Oscar de la Renta also has floral appliques like lining this fitted dress. It's strapless. It's really beautiful. This bride or this model almost looks like a Greek goddess to me, especially with the crown. And I would say that that kind of counts as boutonniere bride to me just because of like where the florals are placed up at the chest. And then Victor and Rolf, which is just a very really glamorous, ornate, over the top. If you want like a jaw-dropping, voluminous dress, Victor and Rolf is a great place to look. And they did this really beautiful boutonniere bride moment with the off-the-shoulder A-line. Again, perfectly floor skimming. I just love that as well. Again, I don't think that that one's for me, but I do like it on other people. I think if you know you're the type of person that likes to like wear something on their sleeve and be kind of like personality driven with a little applique, then that trend is definitely for you if you're a fall 2026 bride like me. Bubble hem. The bubble hem is a really cool one because we're seeing it worked into these dresses in so many different ways. There's a Marcarian one here that looks very modest. It's beautiful. I would say this is almost like this old Victorian prairie look, especially with like the longer sleeves, but it's tiered, right? So it's not a bubble hem that makes it a short dress, whereas we'll see that somewhere else. But this Victor and Rolf dress actually reminds me of the Marcarian one in that, again, it kind of creates this like tier, this drop waist situation. It's very voluminous, like I said before, very shapely, which I think is cool for brides that love architecture in their dresses. Jenny Yu kind of made it 80s. They put like an 80s spin on it by showing it with tights. And this is a high-low dress. So you do have that slip of leg in the front, but then you have the gown that flows behind. Galia Lahav also, of course, did it in a corseted mini dress for the bride that wants to party, or maybe it's just not so much a black tie wedding and the bride wants a short dress in general. So that's that. And then I really love Danielle Frankel. I kind of fell back in love with Danielle Frankel as a bridal brand again when I was going through all of her styles. And I'm excited to potentially try on some Danielle Frankel looks for my wedding, but this dress is really cool the way, and I don't obviously think that this is meant to be this way, but the way it's styled is that the actual fabric from the center of the dress at the bodice kind of sweeps around, draws attention to that bubble hem and the shorter hemline, and then becomes like the veil and part of the headpiece. So I just thought that was a really interesting way of exaggerating the fact that this trend is happening. Again, I don't think that that is a trend for me. I am like now, as I'm talking through them, kind of realizing that. Cape veil. Okay, I've talked about this in seasons past. I think that there's definitely brides out there, which I am going to admit I am one of them, who don't love veils. I I like my hair. I want my hair to be displayed. There's something about a veil, which like you're gonna probably disagree with me. This will probably be controversial, but like that screams like I am the queen. I am this like angelic, like I really think it brings angelic vibes. And I think that that's great for some people, but it's just not for me. And because of that, I think that a lot of brands are taking note that not every bride wants a veil and they're offering alternatives. And one of those alternatives that I'm seeing styled in a really cool asymmetrical way for fall 2026 is a cape. And these capes, I'm kind of calling it like the cape veil because they're so extravagant that they double as what a veil does and what a veil achieves. The capes are achieving that same thing. So Savannah Miller is a great example. You are seeing this cake. I'm just hungry for the cake. This cape like thrown over both shoulders, but it could also be twisted to the side, like in this stunning Galia Lahav shot. And I really do like the way a cape looks with pleating in that look. So that's just one example. Monique Lhuillier came back to the runway for the bridal show this season and again did kind of like the asymmetrical cape. This is a floor skimming cape, so it doesn't have a super long train or anything like that, but it definitely goes with the vibe of that dress. You can also see Nadia Manjarez does some really beautiful side sweeping capes. One is with a corset gown, a really pretty princess like gown, and then the other is just like a gown made of tulle. That is actually a really cool gown if you're into corsets and you're also into tulle. And I like the way that the side cape veil looks with that. The column set. Now, this is a trend that I can actually get behind that I really, really do love. And what's cool about the column set is that it's not always a set, but it kind of plays with your head, it fucks with your mind. You're not really sure is that two pieces or not. And this does work really well with a corset, which is why I think we're seeing a lot of brands do it with a corset. This Ellie Saab look is stunning to me. I absolutely love it. It's got the deep V corset that kind of cuts into the lace skirt and it almost looks like it could be two pieces because you have like a blocking situation, a material blocking situation going on. Sync does it in a really beautiful way with this off the shoulder corset and a long skirt. I think that that's a really stunning moment too. I like Honors. Honors is kind of like a little kitschy. There's like a sheen to the satin that reminds me of like dressing up as a young girl. But I think that that's definitely a set because you can kind of see where the corset is separated from the skirt. So I think that that's really cool. And it just flows like an actual dress would. Galia Lahav does it in all lace with this really cool bag that kind of looks like a seashell. And that's really stunning to me. And then I love Danielle Frankel's and the way that she mixes materials here. You've got this like tulle tiered skirt that is to the floor, and then this stunning corset with contrast gloves. I mean, Danielle Frankel is definitely for the fashion forward bride, I would say. We've also got the corset with waist detail. It's very hard to describe this trend, but I am telling you, I am attracted to it. I really love it. It looks really good to me with an off the shoulder look. So here's an Inez Di Santo moment. Basically, what it is it's a corseted column dress that then has this little bit of fabric that wraps around the hips in a certain way. And it's different depending on the brand and depending on the moment, but it kind of draws attention to the hips. And it speaks to the low rise moment that we're seeing in ready to wear and in street style now. Kaya, a brand that I really love. This is the one and only bridal appointment that I have set up right now. Next month, I am going to do a try on at Kaya. They have this really beautiful dress where on top of the strapless corset, you've got like a little bit of lace peeking out. So it gives it that more delicate feminine feel. And then the thicker piece of fabric that becomes the skirt kind of wraps around and around in this really stunning, like elegant way. The drapery here just has to be spot on in order for this trend to work, but I really, really do love it. This is Nadia Manjarez. Again, this is exaggerated because the material is such that it wraps around horizontally and then the skirt material flows vertically like a waterfall. So that's really stunning. Danielle Frankel does it with really cool textured pleated tulle and then this like situation where these floral appliques are kind of floating in the middle of the bodice, which is special and very unique. And then Victor and Rolf does it too, and I like this because I feel like it's just kind of sporty. The way the material almost looks like it's tied over and just flowing at the hip. So that's a really great one. So far, the ones I like are column set and corset with waist detail. I think those are my favorite. Cupcake. The cupcake bride is definitely here if you want to go that route. If you like avant-garde shapes, the cupcake bride, it could be for you. This Kaya example is one where there's a corset and it's fitted straight into, well, a cupcake skirt. There's really no other way to describe that skirt. It's stunning. I think it's elegant when done correctly. But I also think there are ways that the cupcake bride can be taken to a party dress, right? And this Victor and Rolf marriage dress is a great example. It's a corset, and then it kind of, I mean, this skirt, it's short, and it really reminds me of like one of those foily cupcake wrappers, right? Is that what they're called? It's like what a cupcake actually goes in. And then the flowers are kind of just like dripping off of it. Like that dress reminds me of a beautiful cupcake that was made in like a really decadent bakery. Okay. Like that is what that dress is giving. Galia Lahav does it in an extreme way with this lace Victorian inspired dress. There's just a lot going on there. There's a lot of tulle, there's a lot of lace, to a point where I wonder if this dress is almost editorialized a little bit. And if you were actually going to wear this down the aisle and on your wedding day, they might take away some of the fabric, which I think is obviously always an option. And then Danielle Frankel, the super fashion forward bride, has a tool that kind of just emphasizes the shape of the cupcake dress a little bit more. And there are these really beautiful flowers kind of like ingrained into the fabric. There's a lot of texture at play there, and it's stunning. This next trend, I will say I love just because I am getting married on Hilton Head Island and island vibes is always cool. But I think this speaks to the fact that bridal designers are seeing that brides are going more casual in their wedding dress selections, whether that's because they're having more casual weddings that are maybe a little bit more intimate and smaller, or destination weddings. I think they want to make options for the bride beyond just the ceremony dress, right? So this Inez de Santo dress is really cool. It gives island just because of like the leaf detail and the fringe that is tiered. It's this like really cool halter look. I pulled this Oscar de la Renta bag too, just because it is a raffia bag with a really cool island-esque flower made of leather on top. Like if I was going for an island look, I might just carry that bag, potentially even with this Kaya set, which I like because there's pants and a bralette, and then this really cool raffia shawl. Like I said, am getting married on a Hilton Head Island in November, and it could get cool at night. And that raffia shawl, like I have my eyes on it. There could be something that we do there that is very, very cool. This line look is from the Portrait series, Meredith's Portrait series, and I really like the two-piece set. The contrast color here, this strapless, like long high-low tube top essentially, is very elegant when layered with the white pants that are just a little bit different. They're a little bit of a different shade, but I really appreciate it. It breaks it up. It makes it a little bit more casual. And then Danielle Frankel works with netting in this two-piece set that almost looks like it could be like flexible, stretchy netting. And there are pearls that are actually attached to all the netting there. So it's sheer. That is really cool and a really awesome moment. And then finally, this last trend is not one that I think I personally would take. I do think this trend that I'm about to talk about does lean a little bit more trendy. I don't think we'll see it stick around for quite as long, but you've got the peplum waist. So Markarian just did it. Again, a plunging, Markarian's great with the plunging necklines, a plunging neckline there with straps, like spaghetti straps. And then you've got the peplum that kind of frames the skirt in a really elegant, beautiful way. Kaya did it. The peplum is more around the waist, but it gives you that like chunky. It's really, honestly, this is very flattering if you are going with a corset and you're highlighting the smallest part of your body there at the waist. But it's voluminous and it's definitely a statement, right? Galia Lahav does it as well. This is pretty subtle, and you've got obviously the extreme sleeves paired with this look, so it's not necessarily the most striking detail, but it's definitely there. A frilly little doily like hem at the waist. And then Galia Lahav's main collection, this is the Brooklyn gown. This kind of reminds me of like a really elegant paper napkin or not paper napkin, but like a napkin that you would use on the table. It's stunning. It's like more of like that black tie style napkin and a black tie twist on this trend. And I really like how the peplum kind of is longer so it flows more over the sheer skirt, right? And then finally, we've got Victor and Rolf, which this is like an exaggerated version of it. Like I said, Victor and Rolf does that really cool, shapely design that you're not going to see anywhere else. Their dresses literally look like a work of art. And the way that this peplum flows is, it is the dress. That is the part of the dress that everyone will remember. It flows to the floor. It's like a high-low waterfall. So that's really cool. Those are just some trends that I spotted, trends that I'm into. I'm going to go get a piece of cake and we're going to talk about why Nick and I don't want cake at our wedding. So this is my chance to have cake now. And that's why I'm going to do it. All right. This cake looks so good. Oh, and I didn't mention it, but this blue plate is obviously because of the something blue. We're going to take this. We're going to open the box so you can see it. Now I'm nervous. My ideas never pan out the way I think they're going to. And that's just something about me that if you've watched this podcast before, you probably already know. All right. Oh, it's working. Okay. All right. Oh my God, this is so good. So this is and I just put it on the plate. I can't. The good thing is those shoes were number 1 outside. I just took them out of the box. So they were clean. Okay. So this bakery is like around the corner from where Nick and I live, and it's called Yuki's. And this cake is a apple cinnamon pecan crumb cake, coffee cake, an apple cinnamon coffee cake. And if Nick and I were gonna have cake at our wedding, it would probably be a cake like this because we are not big into like cake that is like full of icing or has strawberries in the middle of it, ew, or just like is soggy, ew. There are so many things that could go wrong with cake, but there's like not so much that could go wrong with like a cookie and milk shot. So that's probably going to be more of our vibe. But this cake is really, really great. And I do believe that Nick and I would love it. If we were going to have a cake, it would probably be like this. Oh my God, this is like the perfect piece too. Wow. So let me just give a true review of this cake. As someone who bakes, the cake is perfectly moist. There is literally nothing about just the cake itself, which you would think if you're doing a crumb cake on top and you're doing an apple center, a cinnamon apple center with pecans that you know is going to be delicious, that you might not give a shit how great the cake itself turns out. But this cake is perfectly moist. And then the foundation of the cake is just a little bit well done, which I really like. And the crumb cake on top is perfectly crumbly, but it's not too chunky, which would take away from the apple and the pecan. Oh, this is like next level. Really good, Yuki. I don't know if Yuki is the name of the guy that owns the bakery. I need to do further research into that, but this is, she's coming. She's coming. I'm telling you, this cat. Food, like it's no type of food that she would like. And yet, did you come for the party? You're not coming to the wedding. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, apparently my camera's getting overheated. So that's that. We love you. I have no idea what my wedding dress is going to look like, but you'll find out when I get it. Well, no, you won't, but I'll tell you that I got it. And then you'll just have to wait. We love you. Happy end of bridal week. And fall 2026 brides, reach out to me. Like, let's talk. Bye. Let's cut that. I really don't know what I'm talking about today. And I just feel like, wait, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah.